JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. Well, I have a very special treat for you. I am going to be bringing on a guest, Christy Vann, known as Vanntastic, is a huge YouTuber, well over 300,000 subscribers, and she's got a very unique skill set that she is sharing with everybody relating to how to get out of debt without any gimmicks, without having to buy anything, but getting out of debt quicker. It's a concept called velocity banking. And a couple of the videos that I have watched in the very beginning, I have been sharing with my clients over and over. So I'm going to give you a link in the body of this video to a couple of my favorite videos of Christy, as well as to her channel. I would love it if you'd subscribe to her, but I have got a free upcoming webinar. Now, that is nothing new, me providing free webinars, but I've got a new software system that we're using. So I'd love for you to take advantage of coming to this free webinar talking about taxes and things that you can do, especially now that we're hitting year end. So with that being said, also check out that link, which I'm also going to put up right now at the top of this screen. Okay, you ready for this? Introducing to you, Christy Vann. Vanntastic.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Christy Vann with Vanntastic Finances, and on this channel I usually teach velocity banking, but today I have a very special guest with me. JJ the CPA from Oklahoma City is going to be joining me today to talk about a lot of fun upcoming events that are getting ready to happen. Wait. I forgot to mention JJ has an upcoming webinar. There's a link below for you to register. I had to throw that in there. Now back to the video. JJ, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Christy. We have gotten to know each other, and it's an honor to be visiting with you. Of course, I've got a YouTube channel. You've got a YouTube channel, but you are just knocking it out of the park. I recently hit 100,000 subscribers. You hit that milestone a long time ago, so congratulations to all your success. I love your videos, and I'm so excited that my subscribers as well will get to know you. Hopefully, they're probably already familiar with you. But I sure appreciate everything you're doing and helping people basically get out of debt quicker, and then just all the subject matters that go around that. You're just really providing a wonderful help to people.
Well, I appreciate that. And you know what? I always give glory to God because I feel like that He has favor on the channel. And it is about helping people. And that's where you come in as well, because when I ran into your videos, way before I started Vanntastic, okay, we're talking back in 2020 when everything was wild and crazy, and so many businesses were hurting because we were struggling with the shutdowns, right? So while I was at work, in my corporate job I had before Vanntastic, I would literally look up how can I help this business. When I came across your channel, I was absolutely amazed at the information that you give out absolutely free. And everything you talked about was something that the company I worked for needed. And I just had this overwhelming feeling of I am going to meet this man one day because you are absolutely amazing.
Well, thank
The
you.
way you bring that tax code out, I don't understand tax codes. I don't understand anything, but you literally step by step would tell us, this is how you file for the EIDL. This is how, you do the PPP. So I had never heard, I'd never heard of those government things before. And when you brought that to my attention, you gave the company that I was working for a hope that we didn't even know was available. So, I get that with my channel a lot. People are like, oh my gosh, when I heard your video, I could not believe that this is even available, and I've never known about it. So that's just the same eye-opening moment I had watching you. And I just cannot tell you how much I appreciate what you do, because the company really benefited from what you taught. And you know what? I did not have to reach out to you one time. You told what to do in those videos, and I just had to follow the lead, and we did. And I'll just tell you, the company got back about $1 million.
Mm. Oh,
It
good.
was a huge benefit finding you. So I want to thank you out loud and proud today. That's why I'm so excited when you come to the conferences, is because I love for people to hear what you have to say. And I'm super excited about what you do as well.
Well, thank you so much for that. It means a lot. And yeah, when you and I connected, might have been almost a year ago. I was so pleased and thankful and honored, and you've been so complimentary. And I'm so glad that it helped you. You know what is interesting? So, as a CPA, I've got my own CPA practice. I've been doing this now for about 32 years, doing tax returns. And in the tax practice that I have, I'm third generation. So my family has been in the CPA business for 70 years, starting with my grandfather, Omar Abbott Slater, CPA. And he got licensed back in 1954. And then his oldest son became a CPA and had his own practice. And then I became a CPA, and I'm so excited that my son Cooper is on his way. He has joined the practice. He is working on getting his CPA, so he will be the fourth generation. So we're so excited to have that continue on. But one of the things that my grandfather talked with me about is that when you have a CPA practice and you're a certified public accountant, keyword there, public, that we do have a duty not only to take care of our clients, but any information we're putting out there to ensure that it is good for the public. And so when the pandemic had hit, I had a YouTube channel that my wife and I had been working on for a couple of years. And in January of 2020, the goal that I had in setting up that channel was met, which was really to just build a reputation as an author and as a national speaker, providing continuing professional education to fellow CPAs, enrolled agents, and tax professionals. And so when we hit January of 2020, I had been to 50 cities in about a year and a half, and we were off and running. And so I'd actually stopped anything related to social media or YouTube. But then when the pandemic hit, and this is about late March, when that PPP program came out, it was going to be released within days. So it passed with the CARES Act March 27th. The money was coming out on April 8th, and it was projected it was going to run out in one day. So I was in a little bit of a panic. How am I going to help my clients with getting that PPP? So I thought, you know what? I've never done this before, but I'm going to put together a series of videos and then send a link to my clients to watch these videos. So before then, any YouTube video I was doing was for the general public. But this was the first time that I was actually asking clients to go watch these videos. So I'd stayed up all night, actually 2 nights in a row, practically with little sleep, following that law. And then when it got finalized, I was already then familiar enough with how you needed to go about this that I then stayed up all night. So in the middle of the night, I put together 10 videos, and they were just labeled PPP video 1, PPP video 2. I didn't have a thumbnail. I didn't have keyword search. I didn't have all the things that we now would know to do having a YouTube channel of some success. And I must have just been the only one out there with anything, because within about a week, we went from 2,500 subscribers up to 10,000 subscribers. And from there, I kept putting out more videos, really in the beginning, still just for clients, but based on their questions, I then generated a video. Well, then it really, just to your point, Christy, I'm so glad you found the channel. It then was just as helpful to other people because everybody was trying to figure it out. So my wife, Amanda, and I, we went live 3 to 5 hours a day, almost every single day for months, just answering questions. And of course, that grew then the subscribership. So really in the beginning, it was just, really with the mindset of service and helping the public like a CPA. And that's where there's that trust, I think, in general in a CPA. but then having that background. So I think the uniqueness there has continued. So in similar with your channel, Christy, you're actually providing information that it's fun to listen to. It's interesting. People like to know who you are. They've grown into a fanship of just wanting to, well, what's Christy talking about today? So over time, that's grown into now my channel is discussing other topics beyond obviously these governmental programs, which really have expired by now. And so I'm so pleased to hear that, helped your business as well as others in providing that tax information. So I'm so excited, and maybe when somebody's watching this video, this particular conference will have passed, but I'm so excited. I'm going to be a part of your upcoming conference in Orlando, Florida. It's quite an honor. Going to be great to actually meet you in person after we've interacted with each other already a number of times. And we've got Alex there, and I get to meet your daughter. And I'm so excited about that. I know you're going to have regular and upcoming conferences. I've got some conferences that I know you'll be a part of when we get into the summer of 2025. The great thing with YouTube, though, Christy, there might be someone watching this in 2028.
Right.
So hopefully by then we will have had a number of conferences that maybe those watching this will have been to. But let me ask you this a real quick. So just because of who you are and your heart, and I share your affinity for the Lord blessing us, and there's purpose in that and reasons, and in part it's helping others. But it's got to be very exciting for you to have your first conference. Now, again, by the time somebody watches this, we're like, what are you talking about? Christy's had 20 conferences by now. But tell me a little bit about the conference from the standpoint of who do you have lined up, and not even necessarily their specific name, but kind of what subject matters and what are you doing at your upcoming conference?
Well, of course, I teach Velocity banking, so we're going to have everything that wraps around your personal finance. And that's going to be infinite policies that you can gain to obtain wealth, to start building your wealth while you're paying off your debt, right? So we have the Money Max, which is a software that helps people to more or less organize their spending and show you how to place payments in a way that you're going to literally eliminate interest. That is probably my favorite product, because if you can't get a line of credit due to low credit scores or high DTIs, then that system can come in and show you where to put your cash flow that's actually going to eliminate interest, which means, of course, you're paying off your debt faster. So we're going to have a whole team of that coming, and I'm excited because they're actually going to run people's numbers while we're doing the conference. So I think that's great. You, of course, dealing with the tax side, we all stress. Everybody stresses about taxes, and unfortunately, we're going to have to pay them until we die. So that's why I love having you on board, is because we need you. We need somebody to help us, even in my own situation. And I was speaking to my CPA this morning, telling him, I need this done in such a way that we're not missing anything, because I feel like that, even CPAs, and I get so tickled. I'm going to laugh out loud here for a second, because when I would watch your videos back, been 4 years ago now, you would make fun of the Southern CPA, and the good guy, good buddy. We're friends with everybody. Everybody only knows me as the CPA in town. And you used to say, these good old boy CPAs, they're not really looking for your tax cuts. They are just making your money because they're filing your taxes. And wow, if that's not the real deal right here in East Tennessee. So I literally enjoyed your videos because you would do their wangy sound and everything, right? So that's why I wanted you. And you know what? This is like amazing to me that I have learned from you to the point of just seeing you on videos to now we're making videos together. I never dreamed in a million years that that would happen, but I feel like you're a huge part of what people need, just like with the Money Max, just like with the infinite policies. We're bringing in the banks that actually do the first lien HELOC so that they can work with people and explain better how that product works to really make people aware of how to use a line of credit for everything, including your home. And then, of course, I've got to have my preacher there, and we want to honor the Lord throughout this conference as well. So I've probably forgotten somebody besides Alex. Alex he's like my right hand man, so he's anywhere I go. But of course, he's going to talk about building business there. So that's basically what we're going to have. It's just a lot of information that people personally can use and change their life starting today. I think that, when we talk about people who talk about finances, and I'm not going to use any names here, but we have some really big ones out there. And what is so aggravating to me about these people with the big YouTube channels that are supposed to be helping people eliminate debt is they give them a 1960s version of living on cash.
Mhm.
We're not a cash society anymore. We are a credit. Everything is credit. So if you can teach people how to come out of the mindset of, oh, I need to be saving cash and I need to be using cash everywhere I go, to, hey, let's talk about what tools at the bank you could be using. That's one, giving you access to funds as you need it without going to get a loan every few months, and is going to also help you to eliminate any debt that you have, because of the way that simple interest is definitely better than the compounding interest. So a long way of saying we're going to have a lot of information that are going to help people find that light at the end of the tunnel that they didn't even realize was there. That's what I want to do, is I want to touch every single person I can, with this hope that you don't have to be smothering in the situation that you're in. And I don't think a lot of people have that. And you know what? I have people from the UK coming to conferences. I have Canadians. I have a lady from Bahama actually reached out this week. The Bahamas, I believe I said that right, is reach out to me this week and told me, what you teach is actually helping me here. So, we're touching people all over the world, but it's just another person that's trying to use this system, in their own country. And I think that's beautiful. I cannot believe that the Lord has allowed me to have such an outreach, that I'm touching people literally, with the very core of what's tearing their lives apart, which is one, their finances, and two, they may not have the Lord, and that may be something new to them they've not, heard about before. So I'm trying to just touch everybody in some way, and I believe that that's where you come in, because you're helping me now to reach even more people with a definite problem that we all have, which is our taxes.
Well, and I appreciate that so much. And what I love about your channel, and I think where we have some synergy, is that both of us are coming from a direction truly of just helping people. It's something that we're doing. And, one of the things I remember when we were first talking is that you said, you actually in part started the YouTube channel because you were just kind of saying the same thing over and over to people, trying to
Yes.
help them. And you thought, well, if they need help, there's others, but you also were, okay, these are some things I'm always talking to people about. I tell you what, maybe to help save time, why don't you go and watch this video, just like I did with my customers. The other thing I love about you, your vision, what you're passionate about, and your channel is, I think, similar to mine, where we're reaching an audience that maybe is missed. And what I mean by that is that really who's tuning into my channel, coming to my seminars, doing any of the kind of coaching that I've provided, and going to your channel and doing things that you're providing, as well as conferences, is they don't either have a resource, they don't know where to get a resource, and or they maybe either can't or don't feel they can afford the resource or
Right.
the information of what you're providing. And I'm going to give a link, because of course this video is going on both of our YouTube channels, but for my viewers, subscribers. I'm going to give you a link in the body of this video to Christy's channel, but I'm also going to give you a link to this one favorite video of mine that Christy has where she's got the whiteboard. And for those that have been following me for a long time, they know that in the beginning, I was always got the whiteboard up going through examples on how PPP and ERC and the EIDL worked and kind of working it through. But Christy's got this wonderful video. She's got the board up, so it really makes sense. But she talks about how when you have a long-term mortgage, you have a long-term loan, and if you can even use a secondary loan, a line of credit, for example, and even though it's a higher interest rate, but taking that money and just immediately knocking down the principal on a long-term loan, how you have fast forwarded and will immediately now save way more than interest. And it may not make a lot of sense because I'm describing it with my hands, but you need to go and watch this video that Christy's put together. Subscribe to her channel, of course, because Christy, I have taken that and I now have shared that with every single client. And when they have that long-term debt, I'm saying, here's something we might consider is even though we're comparing interest rates and you go, well, why would I borrow money here because it's at a higher interest rate? Well, because this long-term debt that you have, by paying it down just in the beginning, you now have catapulted yourself to either year 3, year 4, maybe year 5 of now where your principal would be in 3 to 5 years and immediately recouping savings. And with taxes, and a part of what your conference is and your channel and passion that you're bringing is just what you said, okay, so now we've saved money, but then what do we do with it? And how do we make our future better? And that also goes along with taxes. And it doesn't matter what country you're in, you're going to have taxes, and that reduces down money, of course, available for anything else, whether it's reducing debt or savings or retirement or enjoying life. And so if you're ensuring that you're just paying your fair share of taxes, no more, no less, and that's really the direction I come from is what are we allowed to do without somehow now creating some flags or creating an audit? What are some things that we can take advantage of? And what are some ideas you can take to your advisor? So, of course, with the upcoming webinar that I'm putting together that's for free, it is something I've been doing for a long time. So I appreciate you sharing with your audience to invite them to this free webinar, because this is something I've been doing for 4 years, meaning putting on free webinars, helping the public in general. Hey, maybe they could subscribe to my channel, which is great, but of course that doesn't cost them anything. But in my free webinar, I'm going to be talking about these very issues that complement your channel. And so I'm so excited that you'll be a part of the webinar as well. And when we're now talking about, well, what does that include? It's not just, well, you can deduct this and you can deduct this, but it's also the steps of, well, how do you go about that? What are the steps to take? And how do you ensure that if you are audited, how do you become what I would say audit proof, which is having receipts and having the right documentation. And so instead of taking a tax deduction and now you're worried about it and is it a flag, you're now be able to take advantage of the law in a way that you feel comfortable and confident, because it's just like anything, Christy, until you know something, you're not confident in it. And so then many times you go, well, I guess I'm just not going to do that. So just like with you, and we were talking a little bit about your business before we started recording, but with your business as well, I'm helping you in some areas with that and kind of a restructure. You've got someone there local that's helping you as well. But many times, and I'm going to do a little bit of what you kind of referenced earlier. You sit down with your CPA, your EA, your accountant, and they go, well, you're not going to be able to do that because if you do, it's going to be a flag, and therefore we're not going to do it. The IRS is going to come after you. And really what that means is your tax preparer, your tax professional doesn't actually know the answer. So it's like an easy way out to say, well, no, you don't want to be an S Corp because you're really not going to save any taxes. And so what I tell clients is, listen, why don't you just ask the next question to say, well, How does it save somebody taxes that would be interested in it? When would somebody want to be an S corp? Because that's a big advantage for people that are business owners that are actively involved is the S corporation. And a lot of tax professionals, I speak around the country and I kind of do a polling of, how many of you have the majority of your small business clients that are actively involved in their business set up as S corps, and at what point do you feel they should make that election? And so instead of getting into the weeds, I've got videos on that. I'll be talking about it at your conferences and what those advantages are. But here's what's amazing is that a lot of my professional cohorts, if you will, around the country when I'm talking to them, they literally will say, well, that's just a lot of extra work, and we got to do payroll, we got to do separate return, we got to do QuickBooks. And it's like, well, wait a second, why don't you want to do that? Like, well, I just don't think the client's going to want to pay for that. I'm like, okay, wait a second. So basically, what you're saying is you're lazy, number one. Number two, this isn't about you, and you're making it about you as the tax professional. You're saying, well, I don't want to do all that extra work. I don't think my client wants to pay for that. And this is what I tell people. You want to be with somebody that says, here's the things you can do. Here's how you go about it. Here is what it's going to cost. But typically, it is going to save you way more than what this is costing you. And that's when I would say to my fellow tax professionals, you're right. It wouldn't make a difference if you're a business losing money or you're not netting a lot. But I digress and I pull it all the way back. I think that what you and I share as well is that we're humans, right? I'm a CPA. You have your own business, you have family business, you do a lot of different, and now here we are on YouTube and we're providing this information. And, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anybody when I say this, you and I aren't spring chickens, right? We've been around the block a few times, right? And so with that being said, I think we're bringing a life experience and some genuineness to the messages that we're trying to share. And in some parts, we've hit the level of life, Christy, that we're successful outside of what we're doing here. And that allows us that we're not relying on somebody watching the next video and the views and all that. And I think it comes through when you're just providing information like you, that's just genuine. You're doing a conference where you've told me several times, I'm doing this conference so that I can just love on those that are coming to the channel. I just want to love on them and help them and encourage them. And back to what I said initially is, I think what we share is that we love helping people and at the same time, spreading the good word out there in terms of, feeling better about things and life, not only just with your finances and materialistic items, but just yourself. And I think that comes through. I think that's probably why a lot of people love watching you, Christy, is they probably just feel good inside when they hear your voice and they hear you talking and they just want to basically be around you. So I'm so excited you're providing this opportunity for this conference, and how exciting you got people coming from around the world.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all of that. And you did that Southern twang I was talking about, because that is for real. That's for real. The exact things you said are for real. So I don't even think, you being in Oklahoma City, I'm not sure that you know what's going on here in East Tennessee. But wow, you sound like you've been right here.
I love it. I love it. Well, it
But
keeps it fun.
yeah, and the point is that, just like you said, people are so overwhelmed and smothered by these issues that they don't know how to fix. And I didn't know how to fix them. I had no idea how to get out of debt. I thought I was always going to have a house payment. I thought I was always going to be paycheck to paycheck. And when I learned that that is not true. It's just what we're raised up thinking, that, oh, well, okay. I literally was told you're always going to have a house payment because that's too big for you to pay off. And when you realize that there's tools out there that can get you out of debt so very quickly, it's really mind-boggling. When I tell people every day that 30-year mortgage that you still have 26 years left on is going to be gone in 6 years. I did that yesterday. They just look at you like a deer in headlights, because they're like, how? What's the difference? It's just where you're putting your money. Is it serving you or isn't it? And just like with taxes, are you throwing money away to the government or are you not? Did I say government? I meant the IRS. Same difference.
Same difference.
So, the point is that helping people, and let me go back to what you said about um, the money side of, do we have to charge $5,000 for our services? Absolutely not. The Bible tells us that where we give and the measure that we give, that measure is going to come back to us. So the more you give, the more you receive. And the more help that you're offering to people for free, my experience has been is it comes back in financially. And it's amazing, but it's just a spiritual law. Just like the tax code, you have those laws to follow. Gravity is a law. And if you are step off of the side of a building, you're going to hit the ground. And just like with your giving, if you're a giver, you're going to receive. And I wasn't even taught that either. So I learned a lot. It was like my 38th year of life is when all of a sudden I started getting all of this information thrown at me because I was asking for wisdom. And I felt like that when I started asking, it started pouring into my life. And I would feel wrong by not sharing this with the other people, giving everybody a chance to at least hear, just like with you. If they hear it and they walk away, then that's their prerogative. But if they never have heard it before, how can I go to sleep at night not knowing that I didn't give my best, getting this out there, pushing, even if I have to boost, one of my Facebook ads or something just to get it out to more people. And I'm getting it because we're up to 303,000. I looked this morning, we're almost to 304,000 people have heard about this. So if they are at least watching one video, then I can say I've done my job in getting that out there. And, the Lord will bless our efforts. So, but let's talk about your webinar. Tell me a little bit about what's going to be discussed there. What does that look like?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I really hope that a lot of your subscribers will at least come check it out because, like I said, it's free. There are no obligations. We're not selling anything per se in the sense of I'm actually not for hire in the sense unless you're in Oklahoma. But, I've been doing this for years, as I indicated back to the pandemic soon after, all the way back to probably late April of 2020. At least once a month, I'm doing a webinar just like this, talking about taxes and tax savings. And so usually what I'm going to be breaking down in a monthly webinar is what's going on right now, what am I telling my clients right now, and some of those basics. And similar to you in your videos, especially in your early ones, you said, gosh, I'm saying these same things to a number of people. Maybe I should just put this in a video because then more and more people can hear it. But there's only so much that for me as a CPA, I'm going to put into a YouTube video because many, as you know, may only watch it for 30 seconds and they kind of miss the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would say. And with this in a webinar, I'm trying to go a little bit deeper. And so I'm usually going to hit a number of subject matters because most people come to the table and they say, am I paying too much in taxes? Have you ever signed your tax return and go, well, is that the right amount of tax? And a lot of people judge their professional based on, did I get a refund? And really what they need to focus in on is one key line item that I talk about, which is what was your total tax? Because a refund just means that you paid in more than your tax. And so you want to really kind of look at, well, what is my tax? What's the appropriate amount? Do I feel like I got everything? And so really, I know that you had mentioned too, we could all charge 5,000. I have clients that they're paying me a lot of money every year, but it's based on they have a lot of different things going on. And so, as well as I do, you get what you pay for. And so we don't want people to necessarily only look at, well, what am I getting for free? Because beyond that, I do seminars and people will pay to come to these seminars. I do a coaching program that people will pay to be a part of. But that's because it's now going to be Well, they are able to inquire, how does it apply to them? What is their question to their specific circumstances? And what's so unique in watching anybody deliver or provide tax information is that they can give you the general idea, but the simple fact of whether or not you're married, whether you're married filing jointly, whether you're single, whether you're a head of household, can change then actually how you can implement it and or the value of it. Or if you're an S corp, then you would do this. If you're not an S corp, you would never do this. And so that's when people are watching videos and they're trying to do things themselves, which is okay. But when it comes to taxes, I really am a fan of getting a tax professional. And here's the thing, for me, I drive a luxury vehicle, but in my early days, my grandfather told me that you will have clients that will actually say, and it happened one time in my first year of practice, many, many, many eons ago. Somebody said, well, what kind of car you drive? And I said, well, I drive a Jaguar. And he said, okay, you must be good because people are hiring you. Now, that doesn't necessarily equate to it in every and all circumstances, but just to say this, with my clients, I am making enough money. So, with my clients, I charge $500 an hour, but my webinars aren't to lead somebody to become a client of mine. We already have enough clients. We actually limit the number of clients we bring on every year. So these webinars aren't to drive anybody to become a client of mine that I charge $500 an hour to. So anyways, with the webinar, I'm excited because it's a way to share information. It's geared towards small business owners as well as individuals, and even kind of the next steps of how to prepare things in the right way, how to be structured the right way to then put yourself in a position to be able to save tax. And also just doing a little bit of myth buster. At your conference, I'll talk about that a little bit. And not a lot of time, but just more like, hey, you've heard this, you might have thought this might apply to you, but unless this and this is in your tax picture, this really doesn't apply to you because taxes aren't one size fits all.
Right.
And so anyways, with all that, Christy, what I'm looking forward to as well is we're going to be doing this again. You and I will be doing some additional videos going forward. I know I'm looking forward to having you on my channel to really deep dive into exactly what your expertise is and bringing value to my subscribers by you doing it. Also, I'd love for us to have a joint free webinar sometime in the future. And maybe by now we've already done a couple of them by the time someone's watching this. But I also think us asking the questions that we know our customers are asking. But what I'd love is we're now bringing value to people from two different angles. And that's what you're doing with that conference. You're bringing a group of professionals that maybe those that are attending wouldn't have access to all at once. And I don't mean because they don't have the money to do it, but because there's not all that's not always all available to people, whether it's in their area or just, well, who provides this info? So anyways, being a part of what you're doing and with Alex and my subscribers will get to know Alex like your subscribers get to know him. I'm looking forward to that. But listen, you and I could talk for the next several hours, I'm sure, easy. And so that's why I'm looking forward to being a part of your conference as well as continuing to do things like this. And so anyways, thank you for sharing me and our story together with your subscribers, those that are tuning in on my channel. Thank you for tuning in all the way to here. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you coming on today. And I wanted to say one thing here to be very clear. You are worth $500 an hour.
Well, thank you.
And if I were to pay you $10,000 a year, let's just say, okay, Christy is going to pay JJ $10,000 a year just to make sure that my taxes are in order. If you could have saved me $85,000 last year that I paid towards the IRS, your $10,000 would have been totally worth it. My videos, people can watch my videos and go to the bank and get their tools. They're going to have to do it anyway. But for somebody like yourself that understands the code, you could take my paperwork, sit down with me for an hour, and I would be done and have the weight of the world off of me. Now, that's the difference between what me and you do, is that you are so dang smart that you
Oh,
ought to be paid for
very
that.
sweet.
So that's what I'm saying is, no, I mean, your fee would be worth it no matter what, because
Oh, well, you're very kind.
I know what you would save me. I'd rather pay you than the IRS.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I
I'd
appreciate
I'd
that.
rather give money away than pay the IRS.
Yeah, yeah.
So the point being is that it is based on the level of knowledge and expertise that you bring to the table, and you're like way, I mean, you're like a BP refinery to compared to the pipe under my sink.
Well, you're very kind. You're very kind. Well, and
So
just on that note is, a lot of the information you're providing, they're taking to their advisors, they're taking to their bank, they're putting it in action. And so just like with my videos and my free webinar, it's giving you ideas to take to your advisors and maybe challenge them. And sometimes advisors are just so busy, they didn't know that you'd be interested in it, or they didn't know that you would really want to take action on these things. So it's also just providing ideas that somebody can then take to the next step.
that's awesome. That's awesome. But and here, I think it's because they don't care. It's just
Yeah.
like you said. They don't care. They're lazy. They're getting by with what they have to do, and you're going to pay them to do it. So anything outside of that's a waste of their time. And I think that's a real injustice because, like I said, with me, people like me that have things we need to know about, it's just not fair. So I'm excited about your webinar, even though I'm in it. I'm super excited. And I also am excited about your seminars because I've watched them before, and you haven't been charging a lot for the ones that you were paying for that give you the recordings. So it's just a lot of a wealth of knowledge that every single person in the United States for sure needs to hear and understand. And you do that so well. So I'm so proud of who you've become as a
Oh, thank
person.
you. Thank
Even
you.
though you're a big wig, you are so down to earth.
Oh, very sweet. Very sweet.
So I love speaking with you. I look forward to our webinar. And if you don't have anything else you want to share, I'll just end the video here.
Yeah, I will just say this, right? Thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel and Christy's channel. And then don't you ever forget. Now I'm going to let you end it, but don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. And for those that are on your channel, that's how I end every video. Yeah.
I appreciate so much for you guys tuning in today, watching this video, and I hope that you will take some time to join the webinar that we're going to be having. I'm telling you, he has so much information that it's going to change your financial life. I know that, we need answers to a lot of problems that we have, and I kind of answer those debt elimination questions. JJ is going to help with your tax situations. I feel like that you need to be on this webinar with us, and it's free. It's free, guys. So make sure that you show up, and there is a link below for you to register to join us on that day. Now, I am going to finish by saying it has been an absolute pleasure having this time with JJ. I just appreciate you coming on, and I want everybody to know that we only want to offer you a value. And I hope that this has been a valuable informational video for you, and so that you can take something today and have a little bit of more hope in your life than you maybe ever thought was possible. Because if there's anything that I can do to help you, please reach out, leave a comment below. If you have a question, leave a question. I look at the videos every day on YouTube, and I'll be glad to answer them just as soon as I can get to them. So I want to thank JJ again for coming on here today. I thank you guys for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. I love it if you'd subscribe. I'd love it if you'd check out that free webinar. Come and get some great info. And with that, don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. You have a great one.